So what's going on with improv? How your show's been?
Casual.
Casual.
This week's the theme is spoopy.
Okay, so what's spoopy? Tell our listeners, because there's got to be some of them listening that did not know what the hell spoopy means, the same way I had to literally look it up.
I think it means spooky and silly, right?
Yeah,
Which
basically,
is
when
improv.
I Googled it. Which is improv.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
Sometimes I'm also wearing a beanie, so I probably just can't hear myself.
That is probably accurate. You've got it over your ears. I didn't realize that until just now. Like your whole sound is being muffled at this moment.
I look like crap. I feel like crap.
Oh, why you feel like crap?
I ain't got the COVID. Don't worry about it. I checked.
We checked. There's no COVID.
I think my body was just like, oh, what? You're outside now?
Outside while it's like below 70?
It's been 2 years. You haven't done this. You haven't hung out with people. You haven't stayed up late.
My body doesn't know how to do this. But for real though.
For real. I was just looking at myself and I'm like, oh, this is she not cute.
Oh, she always cute. Listeners, you tell her on the social medias that she cute.
Welcome
to In Love with Movies.
Is that how we should start? In love with movies. In love, in love.
Danny and Nick.
In love movies.
Sure.
Welcome to In Love with Movies.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Dani. Remember,
and this is the podcast
where a young in love couple talk about, you guessed it, love
and movies.
Today's love topic is,
we're going to have a little bit of a debate.
It's not even love topic. It's just, well, I guess like, what do you love more? Halloween or Christmas?
Halloween versus Christmas. Head to head, we are going to settle the debate of which of those two holidays is better.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. And like our opinion matters the most in the world. So.
Oh, I'm not going on just my opinion. I came prepared. I did homework for this assignment. Oh.
And what's our movie, Nick?
What was your phrasing when I told you that you should do some preparation for this? How did you put it?
I don't need preparation because my soul is ready.
All right. So we're going to find that out, because at the end of this, we're going to put up some polls on social media and have you listeners tell us whether or not things are, the way they, which of these two holidays you think is best.
Nick, what's the movie?
The movie that we will be discussing that goes very well with this theme. I personally think this might be the best matching between movie and love topic that we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
The movie, everyone's going to know this at this point. It's Nightmare Before Christmas.
So, hot damn, Nick. Say the word right.
Nightmare.
I
knew this was going to be a thing.
Oh, it hurts my stomach when you say nightmare.
I literally, every time you say nightmare, I hear nightmare.
But how do you spell it?
I mean, I know it spells differently. We've had this conversation. I can remember growing up and asking, why is the word nightmare spelled with an M-A-R-E when it's pronounced mirror?
No.
Nightmare.
No.
I don't know. Maybe it's like some weird version of my parents' accents from Pennsylvania and Southern United States. I don't know.
Yuck. We're watching the Nightmare
Before Christmas.
Nightmare
Before Christmas.
Nightmare. Now let's make some love. Remember, that's our tagline.
I forgot that was the tagline because you pulled it out for the first time ever when we had some of my former students as guests. So
it's our season 3.
All right.
Tagline.
Well, season 3. It's the season 3 tagline.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're gonna have a different tagline next season. But
oh man,
before Danielle falls asleep, I suppose we should probably launch right into this debate. So, Danielle, which holiday is better, Halloween or Christmas?
Well, my dearest Nicholas, I don't know why this is a question. The two don't even compare. The answer is Christmas.
I disagree. The answer is Halloween. Make your case.
No, you start. I want to counterpoint your points.
Okay, so for one thing, I thought it'd be interesting that we can think about this both in terms of like when you're a kid, which Halloween is or which holiday is better. It's always Halloween. And when you're an adult, which holiday is better? The answer is still Halloween, regardless of those things. But there are different reasons why that's the case. And the reason it's best right off the bat for Halloween, when you're a kid, you have things like candy. You get all that awesome candy. You could still get some of that as an adult, but as an adult, it transfers into mostly opportunities to see lots of friends, parties, drinking. If you're like young adult, college age, it probably means lots of fun parties where, you know, there's people in ridiculous costumes that go all out, or, you know, maybe they're scantily clad, as, you know, the phrasing goes from, what's the quote from Mean Girls?
Wait, which one?
The one around Halloween is an excuse for girls in Mean Girl world. Halloween is just an excuse for people to dress as slutty as they want, and nobody can say anything about it.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that quote.
Anyway,
my brain's not working. Okay, can I already counterpoint you?
Try.
First of all, kids don't lose sleep the night before Halloween in anticipation. It's not, no.
Some do.
And then the magic of Christmas is so good as a child that, like, it's an entire month long. You get to see Santa many times. Oh, and guess what? You also get candy, but presents too. And you get to see your loved ones, and you get to dress in cute little sweaters. And I'll give you the fact that Halloween is fun for dressing up, but like, it's not the superior holiday, because the joy that comes with a month of Christmas cannot be matched. I'm done. Go ahead, say your things.
So how long ago did we put up Christmas decorations? Listener, I want you to think about how many days ago you put up Christmas decorations. We're recording this on October 24th.
Wait.
How long ago did we put up Halloween decorations?
You asked Christmas decorations. And I don't remember. Like a month ago.
Exactly. And so how long have we been celebrating Halloween?
We haven't celebrated it yet. It's just been a little spoopy.
Oh, okay. So it's somehow different that we put all the decorations out. We start thinking about spoopy things for Halloween, but that's not celebrating for a whole month with the magic of Halloween, the way that it's celebrating for a whole month with the magic of Christmas.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Halloween decorations because growing up, my mom, Barbara, we all know Barb.
If you're a regular listener of this program, you're familiar with Barb.
And if you're a listener of this program, you're probably also related to me. She went full out for Halloween. So if you ask Barb what her favorite holiday would be, it's also Halloween, because she we had a very fun, I remember it was like, maybe I was 10 or 11, and me and David are 13 months apart. So we have 2 grade periods, but a lot of us were very close. And then a lot of parents had kids of like my age and David's age. And so she had this really great Halloween party one year where the entire basement was haunted. And so you had to stand in a line and go down the stairs 2 by 2. And my stepbrother, Eric, who was just a horrifying human to begin with. Love you, Eric. But like, he always scared the crap out of me. He was like, he always used to wear those white contacts with the little dot. He loved dark things. So he was scary. And he used to prank me all the time. And so we'd have to go into the basement, have it be like a haunted house. And then he would like pop out, and it was so scary. And it was my own basement, and I was afraid to go down there. Fast forward years later, after we moved out of the house, by the way, we found out, confirmed, that house was like legitimately haunted, and my mom had it exorcised while we were at school. So like a lot of that brings up scary things. Or even when I got older, I shouldn't admit this, but this is what happened. Even when I was like 16, 17, coming home after dark, either from school functions or hanging out with my friends on the weekend, and my mom would still go full out making these creepy creatures outside, and I'd be afraid to go in the front door by myself. I would be like, oh, please go, open faster. And like, I hated feeling uncomfortable in my own house. There was also a skull. I'm sure she still has it somewhere. It's like a skull with 2 hands, and they were actual skeletons. Bones. They were actual bones, but they were covered in like what was supposed to be burnt human skin, and it had like a little bit of hair on it. And she would place that in the foyer. And so even when I walked in the door, I had to close my eyes, or I had to turn my head, because I knew if I looked at it, the eyeballs would move and it would look at me. So there's just a lot of fear in my own house that goes into Halloween.
So what I'm hearing is a lot of personal trauma attached to your reasons for this. I was trying to make an impartial, objective case for why Halloween is better. All I'm hearing is a lot of this was bad for me, that was bad for me, people scared me. I'm sorry you've had a hard life, apparently.
Thank you. I know. How dare my mother go full out with these Halloween
That sounds
parties.
amazing. How are you on board with me doing decorations for our house then?
As long as they're family friendly. I don't
We shall
like
see.
scary things.
The other thing that I noticed there is you said, oh, we don't have loved ones, but I'm hearing all these stories about your family is all around for Halloween. And in addition to family, you had a lot of friends coming over to your house for the haunted house and everything else.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's a word.
Haunted house.
The haunted house and other celebrations. I constantly went trick-or-treating with my friends. So you got to have both family and friends, or found family as you grow up and become an adult later. But instead, for Christmas, you're like dragged back to your, regular family, whether you like it or not.
Oh, jeez. As we're talking, I do have fond memories of Halloween parties. There was another time where my mom set up, I think he was called Mr. Bones. I'm sure y'all kids have done this before. And it's
set up Mr. Bones.
It's a mask that you would lay on a table, and then a tablecloth. And then underneath the tablecloth would be like eyeballs, intestines, and you had to stick your hand under the tablecloth, and you're supposed to like guess what it was, but it was really scary because you're like, it's intestines, but it was like olives and cold spaghetti and stuff.
Really?
Like that.
I remember that being a thing they did in preschool.
Whoa, okay. Listen, in 4th grade, it's still cool.
Okay, it'd still be cool. It's not actually scary though.
It is scary.
Oh.
I also remember in elementary school. So I used to live across the street from my elementary school. So we'd have did you guys have parades at your school?
Probably. I think, yeah, we marched through the hallways. I believe that was a thing.
I was very into dressing up. One year I was a baby, and I still have a scar on my arm from my giant safety pin.
I feel like you keep consistently making a case for me as to why Halloween is better. And the only thing that you've said about Christmas being better is
haven't gotten
magic.
To Christmas yet. I just want to talk about
okay.
Halloween past.
Okay, keep telling me why Halloween is the better holiday then. That's great. I appreciate Here, I'll just put away my homework now. Since you're apparently gonna, win the case for me that Halloween is a better holiday, please, by all means, continue.
Let's start the podcast over. Just kidding. I had good times as a child for Halloween, but I never felt Halloween season was filled with fear. Even though it was fun, sometimes it was still fear. Whereas with Christmas, there was always joy. That's my case.
That's all you've got.
And by the way, because I have a themed mother, I don't know if the word is themed.
Your mother is themed?
She's a very
Barb, what's your theme? I want to know.
She's a very big holiday, fun, exciting lady.
True. Yes.
And it has trickled down into me. I do that all the time too.
For some of them.
We also had great Christmas parties, and that was very fun too. And we'd have cookie baking and just gifts and cider and love and warmth.
You know what else is, speaking of warmth, why Halloween's better?
You're gonna say because it's warmer?
It's not as cold yet. It's still sweater weather. You could still go outside and sit around a fireplace, or you could be with friends at home, staying warm. Whereas when the Halloween holidays happen, when Christmas happens, it's all happening at one time, where it's just way too cold. You don't have the choice to be outside.
I'd like to point you
it's
to
frigid.
October 31st, 2019. Do you remember that? There was a blizzard. There were 10 inches of snow, and I had to teach a Halloween themed class, which I enjoyed because I like themes.
I'm tired of these case studies. Give me evidence.
Wait, what? That was evidence. It happened.
Sorry, continue.
Anyways, it's not always. Sometimes there's not snow on Christmas, and there was 10 inches on Halloween. I remember because I was working at an elementary school during a strike, and I had 50 3 to 5-year-olds who are very cute in their little costume guys. But maybe I do like Halloween better.
There you go. All right. I wonder if we should just end right there. No. Case made for nothing that really truly supports Christmas being better. Done.
But are we also supposed to argue whether this movie? Oh, we're not at the
That's
movie
going to
part
be in
yet.
the movie part.
But let me talk to you about Christmas.
Oh, okay. I mean, by all means, I thought you would do more of that, given that you're supposed to be defending that case. Please.
You just brought up all the good memories of Halloween.
Exactly, because those are where the good memories lie. I think you might just because you're tired and not feeling sick. No offense, I'm not sure you're as on top of your game as you normally are. You're not moving as quick.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. I'm gonna win this thing by default. Go for it.
Christmas. The thing that I love about Christmas, besides gifts, not just getting gifts, is giving gifts. And I always feel a sense of fulfillment in Christmas. Nick, remember that one Christmas I got you 18 gifts or something? Just because I love, you're like, I don't remember that. I get you a lot of gifts every year. Yours are usually more thoughtful, but I get you a lot of
quality over quantity.
But what is my love language?
That's literally something I wrote down, is that perhaps love language interferes or interacts with what someone's favorite holiday is. Because if gift giving is one of your love languages, both, especially if it's receiving and also how you choose to express love, then you're going to enjoy that holiday because it's nothing but love for you. Whereas something like quality time, you could find just as much in Halloween, or acts of service. I could see lots more happening there. I was going to say, the beauty of Halloween is that everyone can participate equally, and that there isn't the pressure of gift giving. See, the thing about gift giving that does sometimes happen for some people is being afraid you're not going to get the right gift, being afraid you're not going to get enough gifts, and having that be, miscommunicated how much you care about a person. And there's none of that pressure when it comes to Halloween.
I would like to counterpoint.
Please do.
Your birthday is the day before Halloween, so you get gifts either way. So that's why you're fulfilled by Halloween, because you're like, well, I also get all these presents.
Again, I was trying to stay to objective points, but yes, that is accurate.
That's an objective
I was
point.
almost going to say that with the first time you brought up gifts in your very first levy of gifts always happened for me growing up on Halloween as well. So. And
again, not to bring it to Barb, but Barb is 4 days after Halloween. So she also got gifts around Halloween.
Save it for your therapist.
Some of us who just don't like the idea of, I guess, here's another thing. Halloween reminds you of death. Christmas reminds you of life and merriment and joy and being with those that you love. Whereas Halloween's like, remember all these creepy bad people that died and come back to life? I've never been in a real life haunted house. I refuse. It makes me so sick to my stomach to think about. I hate even going to I've been chased by chainsaw men, because there was my mom loved going to these houses that were super decorated for Halloween. And then surprise, men with chainsaws would chase after you. That was too much. Whereas Christmas, you go see the beautiful lights. Santa Claus comes out. You get a candy cane. You say, this is what I'd like for Christmas. And the answer is world peace and a Fitbit. And what was the point of listeners?
You started off trying to say that Halloween's about death, and that
it is about
Christmas
death.
Is about life. There is some case to be made there, but let's go back to what Halloween is really originally: All Hallows Eve, followed by All Saints Day, or Day of the Dead. This is a case where we celebrate those that we've lost, and we actually, in fact, get a chance to remember those who matter to us and have been important to us throughout our lives, and we get to reflect on the peace that will come when the end of our journey on this earth is completed. Whereas Christmas is a reminder of the stress and pressure of families. It is the stress and pressure of life, because if life is just if life is just beginning, then you've got the stress and pressure of life as opposed to being at peace.
Okay, first of all, you do not celebrate Day of the Dead or All Saints Day. Just saying. How many Americans, I will say white Americans, or maybe, people who aren't
European.
European Americans actually celebrate Day of the Dead. I remember I had to go to church because it was also, like you said, All Saints Day, but I didn't understand what that was. So if I was to pick a holiday that isn't Christmas, I would choose Dia de los Muertos, which is the day after Halloween, because that is the beautiful part of Halloween. We're talking about Americanized candy grabbing. By the way, I threw up more on Halloween than I ever did anytime else because I overstuffed myself with candy.
Tell it to your therapist.
And everything is scary. Where Day of the Dead, you create an ofrenda and you can say, hey, my family's coming out. I'm going to put out this bread. I'm going to celebrate their life.
Please keep making the case for why Day of the Dead, which is attached to Halloween, is better than Christmas.
It's not attached to It's an American Halloween. Anyways, and Christmas, we honor in my family, we honor those who we've lost. Also,
it sounds like a lot of individual cases here. I am trying to stay objective in the court of public opinion.
I don't agree with you.
Well, then let's go back to, you said the Americanized Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Americanized Halloween, that makes it, because it has been so removed from Day of the Dead or All Saints Day or any kind of religion, the Americanized version of Halloween is a pure candy industry hallmark holiday. Would you agree?
Yes.
Which means that it is far more inclusive to anyone who is in this country. Whereas if you are not Christian, you are probably not celebrating Christmas. You have had friends that celebrate Hanukkah. We've had friends that celebrate other things like Kwanzaa or, different holidays around it, but they're not actually all the same day. Whereas Halloween is Halloween for everyone, regardless of what your chosen faith is. Go ahead, fight against inclusion.
If you are of a certain faith, I don't know what it is. It's like super religious. I don't know what faith that is.
Super religion, newest faith ever, greatest faith ever.
You're not allowed to celebrate Halloween. I have friends who were never allowed to celebrate Halloween. So that's not inclusive. Whereas Christmas has become, we know, more of a holiday, more inclusive holiday season because it's about capitalism in America.
But see, your case on why people don't celebrate Halloween is still a case of certain super sort of strict religious sects of Christianity specifically. So again, your worldview here is coming from just everyone you know who's a Christian celebrates Christmas, and everyone you know who's a Christian does not necessarily celery coming in here. Peanut butter and celery was a great Halloween snack. Ants on a log. Anyway, not everyone who's a Christian celebrates Halloween if they're worried about like devil worship and things of that nature, because they misread the capitalist holiday.
Okay, well, my main argument, how many people are actually going to want to listen to us argue? They're like, I'm going to turn this shit off. Is
I really do wish I could get the metrics for like who listens to the first half versus who listens to the second half of our podcast.
They're like, I don't want to hear this. The answer is the way I feel. The way that it makes me feel is why I choose Christmas over Halloween.
That's fair. And that actually ends pretty much where I thought we would probably end, which is, you know what, whatever your given choice is, celebrate responsibly and have a good time with your loved ones, whether that is found family or blood relatives. It's for everyone. It's your own personal choice. There is no right answer to this question, but we're going to ask you to tell us. So we're going to use normative behaviors and see whether there are more people that agree with me that Halloween is better or more people that agree that Christmas is better. We love you regardless of which decision you make, but follow us on social media. Where are those social medias at, Danielle?
On Instagram at inlove_with_movies.
And on Twitter.
I don't use the Twitter.
The letter N
and
love with movies.
Yeah, that's also Nick's Peloton name if anyone wants to follow him on there.
I think there's an underscore in the Peloton name somewhere.
Oh.
But anyway, so yeah, follow us on there and we're going to have some polls up and you let us know. We genuinely want to know. We want to interact with you. We want to find out which holiday you think is better. But before we then move on to discuss the all debated and have an additional debate.
Wait, can I say something?
Of course.
Even though that was a rough fight you all just witnessed, clearly. I still love you and I like celebrating every single holiday with you. And I have great memories with you as well. Our first Halloween together.
I wondered if this was going to come up.
We were a Playboy bunny and Hugh Hefner. I was Hugh Hefner. one of my favorite costumes that has ever happened. And Nick got to feel the uncomfortableness of what women are supposed to wear. And
I thought that outfit was rather comfortable.
Our first Christmas together, Nick surprised me with tickets to go see Straight No Chaser, and it was super magic and it was a wonderful time. So I have wonderful memories with you regardless. I just don't take me to scary houses.
I'm glad that's how you remember Christmas. I was going to pose if we were going to get personal, I was going to use those as examples of how Halloween was awesome. And then I was going to have an example of how Christmas was not awesome because we didn't get to spend it together because of, craziness and families. But
we had the Christmas season.
We did have the Christmas season. Anyway, listeners, let us know what you think. Hopefully you love your loved ones. Share your favorite stories from either holidays with us. Let us know on social media. You share with us and tell us what your favorite time was in either one of the holidays and sharing it with your loved ones.
Or your favorite costume. I want to see. Ow! He just punched me.
We could share a photo of our first Halloween costume on social media.
Okay.
All right. So make a note of that. And you listener, because I know there's some of you that are listening that are like, oh my goodness, I would love to see Danielle dressed as Hugh Hefner. That is the only thing
R.I.P.
that I needed in my life and the world. So I'm going to keep an eye out. My life. And so I'm going to keep an eye out for that. But before we move on to the movie, dear listener, we do have one other thing to talk about that is also going to be something that we need you to share about. Danielle, what is our next segment?
Hashtag Closer Through Science.
That's right. Hashtag Closer Through Science. Closer Through Science is where we use the questions that were developed by Aaron et al. From 1997. And these questions were shown that you could put complete strangers in a room, make them ask these 36 questions of each other, and they, by the end of it, would feel closer to their randomized partner. So you, randomized partner being the listenership out there in the world, are going to hear us sharing these, and then you can share your thoughts with us using the hashtag Closer Through Science. And then we all get closer together.
Through science. Together.
All right, Danielle.
Yeah.
So, we've reached, there's 3 stages to these questions, and we've reached stage 3. Normally, this would be after you've been speaking with a person for a couple of hours. But so things are getting more personal.
Your words are not working today.
But at least I know to say things. All right. So make 2 true we statements. For instance, so each of us is going to make 2. For instance, we are both in this room feeling blank. That's just a for instance. So that's the kind of we statement. We are both recording a podcast right now.
This is a dumb question. We are both married.
We are both in front of, these are not very deep. I feel like we should get a lot deeper. We are both working hard to always be better in said marriage.
We both love our cats very much.
And she goes for another easy one. All right.
Am I supposed to? We are both in this room feeling close through science.
Yay! There's them improv skills. There's them improv skills.
Because I don't feel good.
All right, listeners. So don't forget to follow us on social media, subscribe, all that jazz, so that you can find those things and share with us your answers to those questions. Give us some we statements. And now that we've moved past that, we're going to have a little brief break, and then we are going to talk about what movie again, Danielle?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's right, Nightmare Before Christmas. All right, we'll see you on the other side.
In love with movies. Da-da-da. Ready? And we're back.
All right, welcome back, movie lovers. Now is the portion of the podcast where we discuss a specific movie. And just like the first half, today is going to be a little bit of a debate. Although I'm not actually sure it's going to be a debate because neither one of us has an antithesis position. But we are going to be talking about the movie that is hotly debated about whether it is a Halloween or Christmas movie.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
It's also interesting because when we were picking a topic or a movie for this month, I hate scary movies. If you didn't listen to the first half of this podcast,
if you skipped ahead to here, you need to hear this again.
I hate fear. I hate fear. And so I told Nick he could pick a Halloween movie. I thought he would pick something actually scary. But instead, he chose Nightmare Before Christmas because I've never seen it.
Well, A, you'd never seen it, and B, I like there's not a ton of like true Halloween movies that I have like love like attachment to or love stories for.
Besides Hocus Pocus, which we obviously did last year.
I mean, totally.
And Halloween Town.
So before we get started with things too much, a little bit of opening credits for everyone.
Tell us.
So this is the portion where I give just some brief breakdowns in case you're not familiar with the movie. Here's some bare bones, some background information. So this movie was released on October 29th. May or may not be making some of the case there already. In 1993.
Whoa.
So it's like it's actually almost as old as Dani is.
Yep.
All right. So this is often referred to as like Tim Burton's, but I think at this point, people who know the movie probably already know this. So they're rolling their eyes. If you don't, and you're not a like big movie buff like me, you might not know he did not direct this movie. He was a producer on this film.
Oh.
And his writing credits is only, quote, story and characters. The actual writing was done screenplay by a woman named Carolyn Thompson.
Oh, cool. Let's just not give the woman credit.
I figured you might have something to say about that. The director is someone named Henry Selick, who people may realize this sort of, it's not surprising, the same sort of stop motion action of animation. Caroline, James and the Giant Peach, these are things that this same person, Henry Selick, directed. So other fun facts, the singing version of Jack Skellington is the very famous composer himself, Danny Elfman, who actually composed all of this music. And has composed like Batman and a bunch of other sort of, he works with Tim Burton a lot, but like Danny Elfman is one of the probably top 5, if not top 10 maybe, names when it comes to sort of musical composers for Hollywood. The speaking version of Jack, though, was Chris Sarandon,
Susan's brother.
It is in fact Susan's husband. I don't know this person that well. The only thing I know Chris Sarandon from is he played Lord Humperdinck in The Princess Bride. Nick Stretchberry, if you're listening to this, I know that you thought we were talking about Princess Diaries. You thought it was Princess Bride last month. No. But Princess Bride is getting a shout out this month because Lord Humperdinck himself did the voice of Jack Skellington.
Sorry. Susan Sarandon became famous after she got married, apparently.
Yep. They got married when they were still in school. He went and got his master's degree in acting like in the 70s. And so they actually were married like 3 years before she kind of had her somewhat breakout role with the cult classic that we also recently watched, which was.
Yeah, I was going to say she was in Rocky Horror
Picture Show.
That I have opinions on that movie.
Well, we'll save those for another time. Here's the big one I'm waiting to see. Everyone might want to watch Danielle's reaction to this.
Don't look at the video. I look like crap.
Do you want to know who voiced Sally?
It's Joan Cusack. I swear it is.
Catherine O'Hara.
Really?
Moira Rose herself. Catherine O'Hara.
Wow.
Not Joan Cusack. I was expecting
they
more.
They both have like mom voices, I think.
Yeah,
earlier on.
A little bit.
I mean, Catherine O'Hara was obviously the mom in Home Alone.
Indeed.
They have very like Midwestern mom. I could see that. She didn't sing though. Actually I think she did. I'm pretty sure she did the singing voice. Oh yeah, because she sings.
Because she does sing. Yeah. She knows how to sing.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have is Doc, the like evil doctor, whatever his name was. I think it's listed literally as evil doctor. Did you recognize that voice, Danielle?
I did, but I don't know
one of
what
your
it is.
favorite movies.
Is it Justin Timberlake in Model Behavior?
The Blessing.
Oh, he's the uncle from.
He's the uncle from Christmas Vacation. A tie right back to the Christmas holiday as well.
Wow. Nope.
So that is my opening credits for.
I learned a lot of things.
You learned a lot of things. Hopefully, listeners did too.
I didn't know the movie was that old.
1993.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think it was?
Like 2001.
Wow. No, it's definitely 1993. So I can't remember. Do we do Danny's Dingle or Love Story first?
Danny's Dingle.
Then Danny's Dingle it is. So it's time for everyone's favorite segment where Danielle, since you've gotten all the opening credits now, Danielle is going to summarize the entire story of this movie. Hashtag spoilers if you haven't seen it, because she's going to break it all down now in what we call Danny's Dingle.
Time for Danny's Dingle.
Halloween. very tall skeleton, obsessed maiden, creepy everyone, wants Christmas, does Christmas bad. Halloween is good. Christmas is saved. The end. Man, I really am off today.
You're a little bit off.
I'm sorry.
So I forgive you. It's the sickness. Come on, get that down with the sickness. Did that come into your head too? Right when I said, okay, good. All right. So, well, then I guess it's time for our love stories with this movie. And again, listeners, we love hearing from you. We don't hear enough from our listeners. We have, as much as Danielle jokes about only our family members listening to this, we have people that I know are listening to my voice right now that are not family members, because I can see the metrics of where this is from. If that's you, hit us up on social media. I want to hear your love story with this movie using that hashtag love story on any of our social media platforms that we've listed. And Danielle, what is your love story with this movie?
When did we watch this movie? Last week?
Last Sunday.
That's
the love story.
But I was gonna say this, but a fun fact, I guess. I know every single song in here. Like, as it was going through, I was like, oh, I know this, I know the words, I've heard this, blah, blah, blah. I think it's just being growing up around musical theater and like having that be a very big part of my life.
Sure.
I've heard the songs.
Sure.
I'm sure I played them in band. I just never watched it, and I don't know why.
It's been such a pop cultural touchstone that I feel like, especially the music from the first half, like In This Town Called Halloween.
You mean This Is Halloween?
Sure. Yeah, that one.
Yes.
The one where he's like, what's this? What's this? Which is like, I love that one sounds like a very creepy Halloween, and then the What's This song sounds very much like a Christmas song, which I think is very impressive that Danny Elfman did that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've even been to like Halloween parties where this is playing, or, but I just never sat down and watch it because I'll probably get into this. I just don't like this animation. It grosses me out.
You have said that before, which, in fact, I think I remember you may have watched Box Trolls with me and like hated Box Trolls because you just are not a fan of
away from that.
stop motion animation.
Yeah. That's not true. Another reason
Tell
why
me I'm wrong.
Halloween and Christmas are different and Christmas is better. I love these stop motion.
They're literally the same animation.
Yeah, but the Halloween ones are gross and the Christmas ones are so great. Like Santa Claus is coming into town, and I don't know what the other ones are called. All the ones with Santa Claus.
Oh, I know all of what you're talking about. In fact, when they
Frosty,
sort of came up with the idea
Rudolph.
for this movie, the reason they chose stop animation, my understanding, is that they were being inspired by some of those same sort of saving Christmas stories that were all of those stop animation from our youth, from the 60s and 70s.
What's your love story, Nick?
My love story is, so I can remember watching this. I don't think my parents took me to see it in theaters, although they may have. What I remember is the advertisements for this movie leading up to it. And like, specifically, there were like Aladdin or other movies that came out in like 91, 92 on VHS. And then for those of you who don't know, VHS tapes, when you plugged them in, they used to have 3 or 4 trailers for movies, just like you see trailers for movies when you go to the movie theater, except, you could fast forward through them, but it was the same 3 or 4 trailers every time. So if you had a movie that you watched a lot, and I can't genuinely remember which one it was, but there was one that we must have watched a lot, because I can remember there being like a teaser trailer for this a year or so before it came out. And all it was that scene from this movie when he's giving out the gifts and the parents walk in and they say, "And what did Santa bring you, Jimmy?" And he turns around and he's got a shrunken head and you hear them scream. And like, that was it. That was the only sort of promo for it. And then it would be like, cut to black. And it was said like, coming Halloween next year, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
And that was the promotion for it. And that scene has haunted me to this day. That
is scary.
It has like a weird trauma for me. But at the same time, I can then remember watching, it was like, it made me excited for the movie. I wanted to see what the hell that was about.
Yuck. Yeah, I guess I just don't like that stuff because it had been advertised to me bajillions of times because I was also what was it called?
Disney Channel person.
Disney, ABC Family.
Yes.
I watched that a lot, and they always had the 31 days of Halloween, and so they would 31 nights of Halloween, and I'd be like, what days are Hocus Pocus on? I will be watching every single one of those. They'd always have this in the lineup, and I'm like, pass. I'm sure 25 Days of Christmas even had this in their lineup for ABC Family.
And I do think that's part of what's caused it to, which I think is interesting sometimes when we think about it, it's like, and if you go even further back for network television, I know people are probably tuning me out right now because this is totally a pedantic side tangent, but the amount of things that have become sort of classics or changed the way we view movies, especially in our heads, having everything to do with like who has the rights to what, and them needing to fill time for broadcast. So like the ones I think of as this. So the debate I feel like has come up where it's only debated as whether it's Halloween or Christmas, because like you said, there's people like ABC Family that have played it at both.
Mhm.
And it's because like we need to fill 2.5 hours, or this one's actually an hour and a half, which is
Thank
really
God.
pretty good. But so like we need to fill an hour and a half. Cool. We're going to fill it with this movie, and we're going to do it multiple times during October. And then we're going to do it multiple times during Christmas because we can fill time. Other stories around Christmas are like, apparently It's a Wonderful Life was a total critical and box office flop, but that's why it therefore was really cheap to play it. So everybody had the rights to it and played it a lot during Christmas. So then like a generation later, you had all these people who grew up with it being constantly on during the Christmas season. So to them, it became like all about their stuff. And I feel like the same thing has recently happened with TBS and 24 Hours of A Christmas Story, where now you've got a whole generation of people that like their parents barely knew what A Christmas Story was, even though it was made for their generation. And then now all the kids are like, oh, Christmas Story, that's a classic. And it's because it literally played constantly. So little fun divergent there. But the other part of my love story for this movie is just like everybody, like you said, it became a pop cultural touchstone. Like I swear to God, 50% of everything at Spencer's Gifts was somehow related to Nightmare Before Christmas.
My cousin's bridal shower was Nightmare Before Christmas themed. Remember, I had the little soaps and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize how tall Jack Skellington was, because I've always only seen him as if he's a real person. But I've only seen him in like certain, stills of the movie. But like the opening scene, he's so tall, right?
Not only is he so tall, I actually made a note that this is one of the best sort of protagonist intros to any movie I think I've ever seen. Like, yeah, it's a little bit creepy, but it's like, I know you don't like it, which speaks to your really being anti anything spooky whatsoever. Like this is why it can't even be spoopy, because things that would be spoopy are too spooky for Dani. But this is a little spooky, but it's like spooky in a cool way, and it's fun, and it doesn't scare you really. But his entrance is kind of cool. Like he's riding in on that horse, and then he's lit on fire, and then like jumps out of it and dives into water. Like that is awesome.
I agree. I like Jack Skellington and I like Sally, but the rest of the town I don't like. I don't like the characters in it. But I just wrote
what did you write? Let me see.
I hate this animation. This is a golden age musical almost to the T.
Oh,
because the first number isn't it This Is Halloween, which is an opening number, which is like you set the tone of a town. Remember when I do improvised musicals, the first one is always like, this is the town we live in, this is what's happening, everyone's involved. Then the second number is always I want. This is my motivation as the main character. The second song in this is literally I want out, or I can't even remember what song is the second one, but it's just a solo Jack Skellington singing his emotions and his feelings.
Sure. Yes.
And so I stopped taking note after that. But basically it does follow the golden age musical format as well, which is why I think it's very successful.
That makes sense. And I'm glad you brought that perspective, because I would not be able to, bring that to the table. I have no real concept of golden age musicals all that much compared to you.
It's just very formulaic.
Yeah. And when you got a formula that works, why break it? As we recently discovered for Danielle, she had not known that Big Brother, the formula was taken for the show that is now very popular on Netflix, The Circle.
The Circle. So anyways, going through this movie, because the vibes were really creepy, I had a hard time getting on board with most of the characters. And it's just personal. I'm a little baby. I'm afraid of things, but like the doctor creeped me out. I also said rapey vibes.
That is, yes.
Yeah. He like pulls Sally around and like forces her to, and she's trying to kill him the whole time.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, when you really stop and think about what's being said there, I think that it's supposed to be sort of reflective of 1950s types of movies, which goes to show something. But yeah, like in a modern lens. But I think that's why she's also a sort of like independent woman become an iconoclast icon for women, because she does get away and she doesn't just put up with it. I mean, you could tell that it is clearly some mad scientist thing, and because he creates, and it's like a subplot somewhere in there that he creates a replacement that he shares a brain with, he obviously must have created her. And so the idea here is like, oh well, she literally was created because she is a woman, and it is the idea that this woman only exists for the pleasure of this man to cook, clean, and yeah, I mean, if it weren't a kids movie, there's definitely the implication of, like you're saying, rapey vibes, and she is literally trying to kill him to escape.
Yeah, and she dismembers herself. Also, at one
Commits
point,
suicide.
That's
like,
what. Yeah, I was like, was she trying to kill herself?
No, I think for the story, like what's actually happening, it is intentionally designed to be the idea that she knows she's gonna be fine. She's a rag doll. She can put herself back together. But the imagery there is very much like a woman has been trapped by this man who has said, you are done disobeying me. I'm going to lock you in a room. And she says, I would rather kill myself than be locked in a room with you. And it is just kind of like, we're just going to breeze over that in this like otherwise a kids movie, but it's some serious stuff that's happening.
It is very dark. There were like I will say the attention to detail in this movie is pretty cool. Like at one point where they can't find Jack and they're like, sound the alarms, and it's
and then it was a cat.
Yeah, cat screaming, which is very funny. The mayor has two faces.
I was going to say, you saying the sound the alarms made me think of the mayor. I wrote down, I have a love-hate relationship with this mayor, because that like turnaround version of like the panicking mayor versus the like I'm calm mayor. Like I love the duality of that. I love that. I think we all, especially politicians, have that. But then also like I remember thinking it was like cool and intriguing as a kid, and so I wanted more of it, but then also was like a little bit legitimately scared of it.
Yeah, but they do a good job of like showing his emotions for what face he has on.
Yes.
What
else you got?
Did she try to kill herself?
So she did not try to kill herself.
Also, the mayor has a spider tie. I think that's really cool, like attention to detail. And then I think I got I stopped taking notes for a while because I was really into it, but in a weird way of like I was entranced by those little boogie boys, right?
The boogie boys,
Boogie's boys to kidnap Santa. And at first I didn't think they were gonna go get Santa because they were like mean. And they're like,
I forgot about the gag where they do, but they get the wrong thing.
They get the Easter bunny at first.
That was so funny.
I think it's very creative to have the trees with the holidays in it. I liked that. Also, I like the Boogeyman song. I wrote that down. Kidnap Santa Claus. I hated that song. It.
I wrote down the lyrics of it were just actually very dark.
Yeah. And I hate the vibe. I hate it. Ugh. And then all of a sudden, like late, almost towards the end, Sally is in love with Jack. I think she's supposed to be the whole time.
Yeah, she's pining for him the whole time, I think.
But at first she just like idolizes him like he's Justin Timberlake, you know? Like he's this famous
I'm not sure
guy.
that's a really good example, because like, let's be honest, if Justin Timberlake were to just appear in your life, you'd be in love with him with the end of an hour and 15 minutes as well. So okay,
well, I don't have a good example of who this might be in real life, but like it's like the town celebrity that she's into, and I didn't even know that he knew who she was until very later on. And so I didn't believe the relationship.
Well, I think we've talked about that a lot on this podcast, and I'm glad. I think I'm starting to see it go away in movies, but I think it really was this, like, there's probably studio executives somewhere that were like, every movie's got to have a love story. Kids love a love story. We gotta have them we gotta put them two kids together at the end. And it's like, there really is no reason for it. They're like, everything can happen just fine without there being the romantic subplot.
Sally was so underutilized as well. She was clearly the one who could do all the things. She was
saved
smart,
everyone.
She was logical. Yeah. And then at the end, she's just
Sally's the real hero.
Yeah.
Jack's getting ready to be killed by Boogie.
And she's seen as just like the helper. Did they ever make another one where it's Sally's story?
I don't know. There's no like major sequel that I know of, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some shorts out there or something like that. Listeners, let us know if you know about whether there is a different one.
And then so the whole plot is like kidnap Santa because they want to. I guess I was a little confused because they just want to celebrate Christmas.
I think he wants to be the one in charge of Christmas because he wants something new. He wants something different. I mean, that's the other thing I wrote down here is I actually think Jack Skellington is excellent example of like how depression can work. So this movie talks a lot about depression.
Yeah.
We're talking about suicide. We're talking about being in dark situations. But his depression and that song that you were talking about, where he's wanting, he's singing about just sort of feeling like there's just too much, like it's the same mundane thing over and over and over again, and he doesn't see the point in continuing to do the same thing. And it's therefore this desire of, I'm going to go capture the next thing. And it's later on that Sally, kind of has that message of, be happy with what you have, recognize the blessings you already have in your life. And that's a good message, but it's easier said than done. And depression can be very real. And it's just sort of the realization, like there's no, like he's very loved by everyone. He's the most popular guy around. And yet he is walking around feeling like his life has no meaning.
Yeah. I didn't think about it that way, but yeah. And I wrote down, I think he meant well. Like he wasn't trying to be a bad guy.
It's totally, yeah. He doesn't, I think, understand that Christmas is, because he doesn't understand Christmas.
And so then that's what the town is like. Oh, this is our spin on Christmas, with the shrunken head and toys that try to kill you. And
like, yeah,
it's very scary.
I think though the kidnapping had everything to do with just being like, you can't have two people trying to do Christmas. Like I think he literally was like, no, it's okay. Well, like they're gonna be well taken care of. In fact, he says like, don't take him to Boogie. Make sure he's well taken care of. He's very naive, maybe even stupid, but he's not like bad meaning. He really does think that, well, we'll just pull him to the side so that I can be Santa Claus, at least for now.
Yeah. So then Santa eventually ends up with Boogie anyways. I like Boogie. I do. I think he's a cool character until they revealed that he was made of bugs. That is gross.
Also like a traumatic
scene. It's horrifying. From my yeah. And Sally uses her one leg to like distract him. And I'm like,
speaking of sexuality,
this is very typical, but also like empowering that Sally's like,
true.
I'm gonna use what I got. Yeah. And then, yeah, it was fine. It was fine at the end. This is who my favorite character is.
0.
Hugh's the only good character in my opinion, besides Sally. I don't know. Jax, you're right. He's just a dumb man. Wow, people are gonna listen to this and be like, Danielle is such a man hater. But I think women have been so misrepresented, and so like I'm watching this also from a 2021 lens. I'm not watching this from when I was a kid. So I probably would have thought very differently back in the day.
Well, and I think that speaks to something that's also very interesting, how it can happen. Like, and it that's what progression is and what progress is. And to be progressive, by definition, means if things go the way you're hoping, whatever you've done 20 years ago that was pushing the envelope then is outdated 20 years later.
30 years.
Okay, yeah, 30 years. But that's my point. Like, I think that this is like, these characters were still very much like, it's okay to feel dark on, Christmas days and things of that nature. And also, her being sort of independent and self-reliant, and her choosing, like, I mean, really to make a point about like the relationship thing, I still think like there's no need to have the romance. Why can't they just be friends? But it is, to your point about like him basically having kind of not noticed her, it's sort of like, it's not even like I'm better than you, is at least how it comes across to me. Instead for him, it's like, I'm just like, he's so absorbed in what he's doing with trying to plan holidays. He doesn't even see anyone really.
Yeah.
And so it's her who says, I'm choosing you, as opposed to this rapist over here. I am choosing you, Jack Skellington. And so that's a little empowering too for her. But I think that's why there's things like that make these characters empowering and make use of what was normal at the time. But now we're like, ooh, even the things that are them being empowered are kind of feel old in a modern sensibility.
Yeah. This is very similar to what I was saying earlier about why I like Christmas better than Halloween. It's just the feeling. And I just didn't enjoy the feeling this movie gave me. And I'm not saying it's wrong, because I didn't even think about the depression and like the message behind it. It's just like it's a good movie because it did make me feel a certain type of way.
There you go.
I just didn't like the feeling that it gave me.
And that's something we're working on with Dani, and feeling things during movies that she may not like the feeling during movie, but it's like you can catharsis and process some of that feeling in it. Anyway, I wrote down also that I feel like people who find joy in Halloween will think that this is a Halloween movie. And I think that people who find like sort of darkness or don't like Christmas will think that maybe it's a Christmas movie.
I think it's a Halloween movie.
I agree. I personally think this is I was not sure going into this. I was like, it's been such a debated thing that I was not confident where I would personally land in terms of where I thought this movie was.
But I'm happy it's a Halloween movie because you said earlier, there's not a lot of like actual Halloween movies that exist. There's scary movies, which are not always necessarily meant to be Halloween. I mean, there's Halloween, obviously. And then there's this Hocus Pocus, all the Halloween towns. You know, there's not just like a ton of Halloween movies. So I'm glad it exists.
All right, then. Well, I think that gets us finally to our ratings.
Okay. How many hearts?
How many hearts, Dani?
You go.
Ooh, so the hearts being an attempt at sort of a more objective thing. I think I'm going to give this a 4.25 out of 5. I really do think this is a very solid movie. It holds up relatively well, especially I think it works from the benefit of the fact that it was meant to be kind of a callback anyway. It does what it was designed to do. And I think it also benefits from the quick in and out. Like it is an hour and 15. So it's 75 minutes. You're in and you're done. I think I will not renew my vows, in the sense though that for me personally, like it's been years since I watched this. I can remember really enjoying it when I was younger, and I just don't really enjoy it now. Like I can understand and respect how good it is, but I don't have like a desire to now necessarily add this to the viewing for every year for either holiday personally.
People about to come at us.
Yeah, I know, right?
Sorry.
It is at Nick Loves Movies, NICLUV, Nick Loves Movies.
Sorry. My ratings also, I would give it, I'm gonna say 3.75, 5 hearts.
Okay.
Out of 5. Because objectively, I do think it's a good movie.
Sure.
It's great. It's got some bops in it. This is Halloween. And even
like, I want to listen to that music again.
Yeah.
But I have no desire to go see those scenes.
And even though I don't like the animation or even like the characters, like I said, it made me feel things. And the attention to detail is just great. The little things that I was like, oh, that's cute. Oh, that's funny. Even though, again, I don't like it, but it's smart. There's a lot of smart things in this. I would absolutely not renew my vows. I've seen this once. I can say that I've seen it. I'll listen to the music when it comes on a Spotify playlist, but I'm going to say pass. Glad that I saw it. Sorry to all you like OG Nightmare Before Christmas lovers. Keep on doing your thing. I just don't ask me to come over and watch it. That's it. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize to me.
I'm sorry, people.
Listeners, she's sorry. She's sorry. All right. Well, that is our thoughts and feelings on the movie Nightmare Before Christmas. So if you listen to this far, please let us know what's your rating. Come at us on In Love with Movies, in love_with movies on Instagram, or you can find us at the letter N Love with Movies on Twitter or Facebook. You can find us In Love with Movies and let us know what's your rating, what's your thought, what's your love story with this movie. And then the last thing, follow us on social media for all of those places as well for polls. We're going to have some polls about which holiday is better, Halloween or Christmas. And then we're going to have a poll that's going to exist not only on social media, but also if you are listening to this on Spotify. If you're listening to this on Spotify, there is a poll that should be up right now that you can tell us whether you consider this to be a Halloween or a Christmas movie.
You can do polls on Spotify?
You can indeed, and we have and do.
Other things. Y'all, I'm back in person.
There we go.
Come see me Wednesdays at 7 p.m. at the Den Theater in Chicago, Illinois. It's in Wicker Park. If you want to come, tell me a couple days in advance. I'll try to get you a free ticket.
There you go.
Sometimes I'm also online. Just check my social media, Dani Miami 4, and I'll tell you.
All right. Well, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Nick Loves Movies. That's NIC Nick, LUV Love, Nick Loves Movies. And you can also follow us on TikTok and this is at In Love with Movies. There's there's going to be I do some 3D printing on there, still working on creating a clone trooper armor if you're curious to watch some of that. And I do some like short movie reviews, and we've got my birthday coming up, which the way we are celebrating is going to be watching a ton of movies that Danielle does not get to say no to.
God, I'm not excited.
So there's going to be a bunch of Danny's Dingles, because every time we post
Oh,
or we watch a
no.
movie that is not one we're doing for the podcast, we do a TikTok of the Danny's Dingles. So
Listeners,
follow us on TikTok for Danny's Dingles of a bunch of movies coming up.
this is brand new information to me. Cool. Great. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right. And with that, I love you, Danny.
I love you, Nick.
And we love you, movie lovers. Thank you for sticking with us, and we'll see you next time.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. 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 Follow us on Twitter at the letter N, Love with Movies, on Facebook at facebook.com/withmoviesandlove, and on Instagram and TikTok at inlove_with-movies.
You can email us at withmoviesinlove, that's all one word, withmoviesinlove@gmail.com, to share your own love stories with us, suggest future love topics that you might want to hear us discuss, or just to say, hey, we'd like to hear from you.
Hey.
All original music written and performed by Danny Smith, with our theme song remixed by Paul Brandt.
And this whole podcast was produced and edited by my lovely husband, Nicholas Baldwin.
Special thank you to Ben Abear for Danny's Dingle and Nick Stretchberry for our website and podcast art.
We did